Did you send your list to the North Pole? Did you ask Santa for something special? Maybe we don't know what to ask Santa. Well, for gardeners, there's all kinds of things you can get, and today we're going to talk just about that, right here on the Backyard Gardens podcast.
To have a good harvest, one must plant good seeds and must also use the right kind of fertilizer. The carrots have grown large and firm. How good they will taste.
Welcome to the Backyard Gardens podcast, where we talk about all things gardening and give the information out for you to be successful in your garden, whether it's your first or your last. We are your hosts, Ben, the backyard gardener, and
Batavia, the front yard gardener.
one in the country,
One in the city.
Now get ready as we dig deep into this wonderful world of gardening as we learn to grow and grow for change. Is that tea or coffee?
It's coffee right now.
Oh, how dare ye.
Yeah. I'm still on coffee. I'm putting it on my warmer as well.
Oh, you have a warmer?
Yeah, I actually took the candle that I had off of the warmer and put the coffee on. So
Look at you being all special and extra.
I know. An old colleague gave me this years and years and years ago, and every now and again when I turn it on, I think of her. Aww.
So nostalgic.
Yeah.
So nostalgic. So yeah, it's Christmas time. I'm getting excited. Are you?
It is that time. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting.
For sure.
Well, I don't know if I'd use the word excited, but I am looking forward to the rest of this month.
That's excited. I'll take it.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Damn it.
It's not, but okay.
You're gearing up for next week's holiday party on the Backyard Gardens podcast, I take it.
I absolutely am. I am very much looking forward to that. Yeah, we're still trying to work out. I have a couple of girlfriends that, a set of us, we do a kind of a girls' end of year holiday bash. And so we're working out doing that virtually. And then I normally have a couple of like holiday dinners that I do, like just like going out with a friend for dinner. And so, yeah, trying to figure that kind of stuff out in the current environment. So
Nice. Nice. We're actually having our Christmas party for the company I'm taking my wife out. We're going to this restaurant called Chef and the Farmer.
Oh, I've heard of it. Mm-hmm. Wait, I think I have.
Yeah. You heard of the TV show?
But go on.
Possibly.
Once I see
Either
the
way,
advertisement, like the website, I'll know. But go on.
it's a restaurant that they grow their own food, basically. So I've been there before and it was amazing. She hasn't been there, so I'm pretty pumped. As long as we can get in the door, you know how it is.
Yeah.
But it's actually a pretty cool social distancing spot because it's like you go in and it's set up like a farmhouse. So you kind of get your own individual dining room table to eat at.
Are you guys still doing indoor dining where you all are?
Yeah, for now. I think that's just about to stop though.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we haven't been out all year really. So, which has been a blessing, but that's for a different episode.
Well, you know what? It
So,
potentially for some has put you in a situation maybe to kind of walk into some of these goodies we're going to talk about. So
Yeah. And we got to do our housekeeping items. So first thing is if you're listening to us right now, or anytime you've listened to us, go to wherever you're listening to us and help us out and leave us a review, please.
and thank you.
Because thank you. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop us a comment. Drop us comments everywhere. We want to hear from you guys. So
yeah, and
I'll
I'll come in with the follow up of it also helps the podcast, right? So it helps us continue to do what we're doing. You know that we're always asking to hear from you, but this is kind of like with an additional purpose. So
right, yeah, and actually, transitioning directly into hearing from us, I got a crazy question last night.
Oh, cool, cool for being crazy.
Yeah. And it was just very in depth. So I'm basically just going to read the exchange on this one, if you don't mind, Batavia.
I'm for it, man. My coffee has probably just gotten a tinge of warm.
I wrote a small book, basically. Well, it felt like a book. And then you know how it is on social media. And you look at it and you're like, oh, wait, I didn't write as much. But I felt like I was just writing and writing and writing. So, yeah. Let me pull this billy goat up and...
And the coffee, in my imagination, would have been warm with a minute of warmer time, but clearly not.
No. So Lauren on Instagram wrote to Backyard Gardens TV, and Leonard actually told me to check this. So thank you, Leonard.
Good. Because you do kind of have unofficial office hours. I think we're actually I pick up the the third shift when you're wrapping it up. But go on.
Yeah, Leonard is just kind of fills in everywhere. But she, the conversation started where she was like, "I'm looking for free mulch," and we type back leaves, and she goes, "Right, but we're looking for use." For a stand of bamboo cane that my dad originally started as a privacy fence, but has exploded as he's gotten older and hasn't been able to whack them back. Now bamboo is one of those things where it is completely dry, it's viable, it'll root from the smallest bits, but his 73-acre farm has a lot of space, so I've been playing with the idea that we can use the bamboo mulch and dry it out in some unused. She said nuclear containers he bought wholesale a long time ago. So this just kind of sets up the base for all of this.
How much bamboo did she describe them having? Like how long of a space?
She didn't say, but we'll get into space in a second. And he was trying to set up a privacy fence. So I imagine, you don't put a 5-foot privacy fence up on a 73-acre farm. So he used to have a greenhouse-based nursery, and since she's been back home, she's been trying to turn the property into something sustainable and profitable. And then, she says we have the best channel, so thank you, Lauren.
Oh, thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, and I got clearance to use her name in this whole story.
Yeah.
So she sends me a couple pictures. She's in 7B, and the land is very rocky and variable and slopes. So she's, because, that's, when I say close, it's like the next state over. And I hike those mountains a lot. So it's in like a mountainous region, kind of.
Very uneven and
Yeah, very uneven and unstable. And she said, but we've got some areas that have been covered up in weeds for years due to letting hay rot in them. So the weeds have been bastards. And so she sent me a bunch of pictures, and some of the land looked fertile, some of it looked like clay. One of them clearly looked like clay. It looked like a brick factory could be made. Now I could be wrong, it could be the picture just kind of throwing me off. So she said so far she's got a plot in the front of an old shed that has scarlet kale, spinach, onions, and carrots, and the longer traditional 85-foot beds so far have 60 feet of garlic.
85-foot beds. Okay.
And another row of onions, butter crunch lettuce, peas to fix the nitrogen as a cover, turnip greens, and mustard. So my book comes in, and I said, okay. Because basically what she's doing is she's taking land that hasn't been used, and she's trying to revitalize it and start using it. So I wrote back to her, you could split...
Just so you know, I'm logging in so I can see the pictures because I'm enamored just listening. But go on.
Okay. As long as it doesn't kick us off. So it goes, you could split in sections and plant cover crops in the spring, plant in another area in the fall that are cover crops. And so you would be rotating the next year. So I would get a bunch of straw bales, which have no seeds, and mulch heavily over the winter and fertilize 1 month before spring. But after you get a good soil test, so first get a soil test because you really want to, this is the perfect time for a soil test because now you've got this land. You don't know what's going on with it. You want to know what to do with this land.
Yeah.
So
wait, but her question was around mulch, wasn't it?
It started at mulch, but then it got into revitalizing. So I said, then you'll know what to do and what to add. So what kind of fertilizer, blah, blah, blah. How much organic matter is in your soil.
Also to note, Lauren, because you didn't hear from me on this, because Leonard locked my account yesterday. Again. But there's also, it's going to help direct her or them on where to start, when. Meaning the east side of the property, I'm just making up, the east side of the property may be more depleted, and she may find that after that soil test, maybe she can make better runs around the west side of the property. I don't know.
Exactly. So then I said, you'll know what to add, then design a plan and try to stick with it. So also so at this point, what I'm saying is, take your land, and let's say we just divide it in 4 sections. It sounds like it's fairly large. Yeah. divide it in 4 sections. So in the spring, the first year, I would plant cover crops in 2 sections and grow in 2 sections, like food. And then in the fall, those 2 sections that had food, I would plant cover crops and I would start a fall garden in the other one. Or you could just totally let those spring cover crops just die out and do their thing. And you're kind of sacrificing a year, but if you have a lot of land, you're still working it.
Yeah.
So I says at the next point, I said, also start a big compost pile and feed it heavily. If you have chickens, get them out there over the winter and work the land for you. Basically, you would be at a smaller capacity this year, and then each year after that, you would be gaining more areas to plant. I said, it looks like you have clay, so you will need to add a lot of compost to work in the ground. If it were me, I would work compost into the first 3 inches of soil, and then I would add another 4 inches on top of mulch, minimum 3 inches. And then follow up, unless you're doing raised beds. But I don't think that she's wanting to do raised beds because that never came up into.
And that's a lot of land. So 3 inches of compost post and soil on top of the current dirt she has. Is that what you were describing?
No, I would work compost into the first 3 inches of soil. Gotcha. Then I would put another 3 inches of compost on top.
Yep.
So right then, as of right now, you would have 6 inches of fertile soil to plant. And then when you mulch on that, as it breaks down, it'll push everything down and it'll just get deeper and deeper.
Sure.
But see, I'm not a no-till kind of person, but I am a less till kind of person. So I'm like, go ahead and get your tilling and stuff in now and then kind of do as much. But when you're on a large scale like this, it's a little bit different. But you can take these same advice and apply it to any garden size,
So did you get the impression that this is about their family sustaining themselves, or is this about potentially like going to market with what they ultimately grow?
I think it's a little bit of both. Okay. That's the impression I got. I didn't really, I wasn't trying to get like, so what are your plans? What's your business plan? Let me see,
Well, I mean, obviously, like what you want to grow, though, is a common question to ask. The only thing I'd add is just based on, because, we talk a lot about small space gardening. And while even in small spaces, you can do this, everything that I've read and seen, the first thing that people comment on is plant fruit trees, right? Because they're going to take so much longer to produce. So if she has a desire to, even if it's just for their family use, if they have a desire to grow fruit, obviously, we don't want you to just plant trees just because. Or if there is some opportunity to potentially sell that fruit in future years, make a way for that to happen in the next year.
Well, and so she lives out in the cut. You know what I'm saying? Like she lives out there. So, yeah, and I mean, I didn't get into like what you should plant or anything like, because I mean that's
you don't have to. That's the reason why I said it. It's okay. I'm not evaluating your response. I don't want to.
Yeah, sometimes when we do the responses, I'm fairly strong about overstepping boundaries and be like, well, you need to plant this, and you need, unless it's like very specific.
Are you implying that I'm overstepping by suggesting fruit trees? Okay.
No, not at all.
Lauren, what does it sound like? Please comment once you listen to this, because it's going to be out really, really soon, right? Were you already thinking fruit trees? Were you disappointed that Ben didn't suggest fruit trees? Were you hoping that Leonard was looking over his shoulder and saying, "You forgot fruit trees"? Maybe they don't like fruit. It's quite
maybe
possible.
They don't like fruit.
Or things like nuts, which is going to tail into some of my suggestions for today. I had a piece of pecan pie today for breakfast, just so you know.
Oh, you suck. I just had oatmeal. But I like
that's
oatmeal,
one of your favorites, yeah. I almost went with oatmeal, but I'm like,
Yeah. There's other things that came up, and actually, you know what? Well, remind me in one of the next episodes to bring up the other question she had. I don't want to overwhelm. It's totally separate, but it's very good information. But
the thing
that clay is a problem.
Yeah.
You have to amend that clay. And a lot of people have clay. So like in my state where my mom lives, like they make bricks there, like straight up bricks. Yeah. Like every house you see is bricks. Yeah. So you have to amend that soil with something. And I remember, I've told the story before about going to get manure and rolling around in horse shit, as a kid. But they always did it. And I didn't know why. And, and I honestly, I don't think that they totally understood why they were doing it. I think it was like, you just knew that they just knew they had to do it. But then years later, when they went to go plant a garden, they had like no issues because they weren't growing food at the time. But once they finally started, then they had it. So
I remember years and years and years and years ago. I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't even know if I had left home yet. But my uncle was talking about a house that he was buying in Chicago. And my grandmother asked, is it brick or is it one of those frame houses? So when you mentioned my house is, mostly frame, right? It's like there's some brick facade,
now the houses
right?
are framed. They don't really do brick anymore.
So that's what I was going to ask. You're talking about where your mom is. Are these like the houses that were built many decades ago, or are they like...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They're not still making them out of... Now they're just stick houses, but, But, the house she lives in now is old, and it's made out of bricks. My grandmother's house is made out of bricks. My uncle's house is made out of bricks, My house that I grew up in was actually made out of stone. Oh, wow. But everything around us was brick, it was an older area.
Yeah, but I love that question, and I was just going to comment on... or that dialogue even, because there's still nuggets, even though the space is huge that she's describing, there's still nuggets that you can take and apply to a smaller garden space, so.
For sure. Yeah, so when I commented back when she's like looking for free mulch and I was like leaves, and then I found out the size, I was like, oh shit, that ain't gonna work. I'm like, you ain't gonna find that many leaves, but the property looked beautiful, man. I hope she gets it going. I'm excited to see how she comes about with it. And the one thing that I pulled out of everything I was saying, and it really rang true in my mind, and Ashley that was on the podcast earlier this year.
Hey Ashley.
She has said it herself, that gardening has taught her patience. And this is one of those classic things where it's like, you kind of have to like, you could rush it, but if you slowed down and you did it right, you would be set up in the future way better. So
that's for you taking the thought out of my head. I was going to just say in closing, pace yourself. So, and that goes hand in hand with having patience. Now, you said earlier on in your comments to her that, make a plan and stick with it. Because in the case of having so much space, I can imagine it's very easy to get caught up with, okay, oh yeah, we're going to do something different over there and do something different over there. So, because you're not as limited. I mean, I think the soil conditions is one initial limitation, but you're not as limited as, I have 25 by 100 foot space and that's it. That's all, So, as they say, when you, have you ever heard the saying, your eyes are bigger than your stomach? When it comes to,
I live by that.
It's like, be careful there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about it over the years, right?
Yeah, over the years. I mean, she's got a solid area. So, I mean, it's just, you got to work that foundation and then boom.
Yeah.
And so, just so you know, Lauren, because I know you're listening, I'll take a box of fruit every year for the advice to get set up, okay? And my address is... But and also moving on, because we could talk about this all day.
Yeah, congratulations on taking these steps. It sounds like this has been in motion, so congratulations for taking these steps.
Yeah. Every thought's a seed, and a seed just needs water. So
I haven't had a good cry on this show in a while. Yeah,
you lie like a cheap rug, but that's okay.
All right, so we're moving on.
Seed giveaway, February 1st is the next drawing. It's going to get your spring garden going. We're gearing it for a spring garden. So head over to backyardgardenstv.com, and sign up for the emails, and you will automatically be entered in this giveaway and all of them.
And the winner of the seed giveaway, which will be announced on February 1st, you have a great opportunity to join me in growing a spring garden. Me for the first time. Like
at your house?
Come on over. Yeah, my yard is big enough to socially distance, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm putting lots of riding on this one, man. Yeah.
It's heavy, boy.
Oh man, I'm pouring it on thick, man. I'm planning for food for 2024 now, so what are you gonna do?
So next housekeeping item, greenhouse, is that right?
Greenhouse temperatures, yep.
27 last night.
Oh my.
And 32 in the greenhouse. So it still hasn't gotten a hard freeze in there. So
that's actually really good. I'm dare I say, this is that little bit of misery loves company. Like I'm surprised you guys get down to 27.
I told you.
There's something about, and you guys can let me know, there's something about folks that live in cold areas where it's like a badge of honor. It's like,
it is.
when you,
and you deserve it.
Yeah. When you,
all of you deserve it. When
you're wearing your skull cap as you are today. And I'm just like, come on. Like have they turned you already? Cause you've lived in cold areas.
Look, I'm bald, man. I ain't got what you got. You know what I'm saying? Like I get cold. All right.
Yeah.
You heard? Look, I know we have a listener. I talked to him the other day. That's in zone 3. So hats off to you, my friend.
And gardening in zone 3?
Gardening in zone 3. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean,
zone 3.
It's really,
literally it's cool.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So,
go ahead.
I just wanted to update the good people on, there's still things that are, edible in my garden. That's it. That's all. It's December. Yeah. I still have vegetables. I mean, it's like, so.
Anticlimactic, is it? No, you did good. You're doing good. You have met one of your requirements for the year.
Absolutely, I have. Officially.
You have officially met him.
We're only a handful of days.
You have literally officially met it, and you might be close to breaking it by going into the new year.
Well, I may be close to breaking it going into the new year. There are 3 milestones here. There is harvesting things. Damn it, you're going to make me go there. Harvesting things in December, right? That's one, which I've already accomplished. There is harvesting vegetables in winter. We're just a couple of weeks off. I'm watching the forecast like a farmer boy. And 3, and this is the long goal, right? This is the reach, harvesting food in January from the garden. So
that's what I'm saying. You're close.
Yeah,
you're close.
Yeah,
you're hang tight, please. Please.
Yeah,
you need to have the intestinal fortitude to just get in there and get it on January 1st and then let it go.
At midnight, it's like
12:01 is done, son. You've done it. Go out there at 12:01 and cut a piece of damn kale and be like, I'm done.
Listen, I'm gonna have my camera out there. I'm gonna have my glass of champagne. You want me to say sparkling cider or something, but nope. Have my glass of champagne. I'm gonna be dipping kale into the glass. It's gonna be wonderful. Yeah.
Shit, girl, I sleep on New Year's Eve. I
typically do as well. I've had my mother, I've had my grandmother call and wake me up to say, "Wait, it's the new year." I'm just like, listen,
and
it'll be the new year in the morning. Years and years and years ago. This is probably like 15 or 16 years ago. This is back when Blackberries were in for work. I don't even know if iPhones were a thing then, and so I could probably count on maybe 2 hands the times that I've actually went out and went to a party or an event for New Year's. And so this is one of those. And I was, I stumbled in, and so I was like asleep like a rock. And I heard this buzzing. and it was my BlackBerry. And I could still picture myself like leaning over, hanging off the bed, trying to get to the phone. It was a customer. Because at that point, you know, it was that customer program I was working on. They had a direct line to you. And me trying to put on this facade as if I wasn't completely hungover. It was a system issue. And the guy knew it. You know, we had a great relationship. The guy knew it, but we still had to kind of keep it on par. And so every now and again, that comes up. Like, so what are you planning? You plan on being awake at, you know? It probably was like 10 or 11 a.m. that next morning, but come on. So now I'm still up pretty early in the new year.
I live the farmer life. Mm-hmm. I get up before the sun, right at the sun, and I go to bed just after it.
Yeah.
So,
well, listen, one more housekeeping item that we won't make a regular item, but I had a talk with my mother today. And I think I set her straight. Well, it was 6:45 and I called her. So she normally makes the first call in the morning. And I said, you know, I'm going to start work today at 7. And she said, what? Just like that. And I said, listen, you called me 2 times this year at 7 o'clock and I was still asleep. And I've mentioned this before, right? Because I take offense to this. I am not a slacker. That was 2 times this year. We're like 300 days in. That's not the norm. This is the norm. I've been up moving and shaking. And she's like, okay.
So look, yeah. Every time I text you, I can hear in my head, listen here, look here, look now. Those are like your 3 sayings that you say. I can hear it. And I'm like, shit. Every time you say it, I'm like, okay, if she says, listen here, that means I'm almost in trouble. If she says, look now, that means I'm getting close. And if she says, look at here, then that means that everything's good.
So we'll see. Maybe I will update you if she continues to basically say I'm a disappointing child that sleeps into 7 o'clock every day. Because you can hear the TV in the background. Like she's already had breakfast. She's, you know, like on hour 2 of the news. And I'm like, I am too. Besides those 2 days, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So, and also I want to set the record straight for somebody that we communicate with on Instagram. It's kind of funny. I guess we had an exchange yesterday back and forth about my zone that I'm in. And she's like, what did I start? And I'm like, you didn't start anything. You didn't start anything. This has been an ongoing thing. Listen,
let the witness show. Like, I didn't even know that I had a witness out there to call to the stand, but, you know. There's no going back now.
No. It was from an episode that we had to scrap. We had technical difficulties.
I'm not signing on to that.
I am, because I can tell you that we sat there and we finished the episode and then we briefly mentioned it, and the episode was already an hour and a half and it ended up being like 2.5 hours, and we were like, no, we can't release a 2.5 hour episode. And it was like me ranting about zones.
I remember the rant. I remember the zones. I remember all of that.
Too.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of my favorites, and we scrapped it. But I'm not going to let you. I mean, it's like the tapes have been destroyed, right? And you're telling me that that's the one time that you mentioned that you're in zone 8A. Like, it's too convenient.
Look here. Mm-hmm. Look now. How's that?
Yeah.
So what is on your Christmas list for your garden?
Well, I mean, beyond like the Christmas dinner that will come from my garden, or in part that will come from my garden, I am doing a couple of different things. And so,
man, hold on. No, that's the Sunday school answer. You can't give me that.
I can. You can't tell me how to answer. Stop it.
Look here.
And I can't, you know, look, you got that honest is what they used to say. Like, I can't deny any of that. So one of the things that I'm doing for Christmas is I made candied jalapenos from the garden this year. That was one of the reasons why I was growing so many jalapeno peppers. And so I have earmarked jars for certain folks, you know. It's one of those things where you kind of have to know a little bit about the person, because you need to know if they like spicy food, if they like. My uncle is a great example. I was giving him some different things that I can, and he's like, I want it either one way or the other. I either want it sweet or I want it, hot. I don't want both. And I'm just like, well, you don't know what you're missing, buddy. So I'm starting off with uber duper, like the even 4-ounce jars for some people. Because I mean, if you don't like it, maybe there's somebody else in your house that may, but I don't want to give you like a 16-ounce jar, so unless I know. So that's going to be a staple when it comes to, this is a holiday gift that I have for some folks earmarked. Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, we did pepper jelly this year, and we tested it out.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Somebody sent me some seeds up from Instagram that they had grown, and so I have my garden plan, like everything I'm gonna plant.
Yeah, for next
already
year.
Set up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my man sent me some a bunch of different seeds that he had saved, and one of them was UFO peppers.
Oh. And
I was like, damn it. I had my whole plan, and then you had to send me this conspiracy theory pepper that now I want to grow this more than anything else. And then when I grow it, because it's purple and it looks like a UFO, I don't want to share it with anybody.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I want to save the seeds so I can't grow anything else next. So I was like, damn it, this just got so much more difficult.
Like a whole new garden bed now.
Yeah, well, no. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold your breath. You ready? I'm going to grow regular jalapenos in pots next year so I can separate them so I can do those for pepper jelly, because the UFO peppers from the research that I've done are just a little bit too hot.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
gotcha. Yeah, so
they're not crazy hot, but they're a little bit too hot. But it was awesome. And he sent me so many different peppers and pumpkins and stuff.
If you come across mammoth or jumbo jalapeno pepper seeds, let me know. Because the ones that I've grown over, like the ones that I bought from transplants over the years, the ones that I grew this year now in 2020, they were great for the purposes that I'm using them for. But I didn't do anything like stuffed jalapenos, and I like a larger pepper ideally for that. You could do it with the smaller ones.
Actually, I have some. I think I'll send them to you. Let me go into my seed vault.
Okay.
Well, they're not technically mammoth, but when I grew them, they got fairly big, large.
Yeah, so, there's something about, and I mixed mine up. Like, so I had regular jalapeno peppers and I had early jalapeno peppers. And by the time we got to saving seeds, they were all mixed in together. So, I mean, I'm not going to worry about it. It's not like it's a different tasting jalapeno pepper or anything. So I'll start them next spring. I'm going to
see what I got.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I'm going to dig.
Yeah. So for the jelly, I think it was on YouTube. Someone commented around making jalapeno pepper jelly, and almost like I've not made candied jalapenos, but I've made the pepper jelly. And I said, yeah, that's on my longer list, only because of the whole idea of the jelly setting and all.
Do it. I got a recipe I'll send you. Okay. Remind me, I'll send it to you.
No, I won't. Leonard will. Leonard, can you?
Leonard.
Giant jalapeno pepper seeds and jelly recipe. Okay, got it.
You're effed now. He's not going to remember.
Yeah, no, that's like one too many things.
He rolled up in here in his underwear today. He forgot to put his damn pants on.
Well, you said it was 27 degrees? Or was he in the greenhouse where it was 32 degrees where it's fine? Yeah.
He was in the greenhouse. Yeah. He sleeps in the greenhouse. We have a little hammock for him.
Yeah.
I'm joking, bro. But no, I like the idea of you using the little jars.
Yeah. Wait, are you guys giving them away for gifts? You mentioned that you...
Hell no. Okay. We were just testing it out this year. Yeah. I'm still on your damn gift. So I like the idea of the little jars, and I actually went on the hunt for, the little round 4-ounce jars, because I wanted to use my peppers this year, my bell peppers, and make roasted peppers, like can them.
Yeah.
You know how much them damn jars are?
How much?
The little rounded ones, they were $40 for 4 of them.
Oh, that's crazy.
Son, you got to be tripping. What kind of crack are y'all smoking up at Ball, man?
Check again, because I was in the store. So we're current. Like, this episode will come out you're hearing it. We're recording it this week. So I was in the grocery store this week.
No, it's coming out in hours. Leonard's got to edit quick.
It's like, literally less than 24 hours. So look, strike now, right? So in the city, I was listening, like, how much are you going to say? If you're going to say it's the same price I'm paying for them, like, can you believe? Right. So anyway.
This was on Amazon.
Oh yeah. Don't even, I wouldn't even bother. I was back.
Well, I haven't been even going into the stores, man, because I'm trying not to get the Rona.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So that's the only place I am going, So Walmart, to the stores. Walmart, that's like my outing, it's like Walmart. And if your grocery stores carry them, they're back in stock ultimately is what I'm saying. So the cheapest I've seen, the small ones, is like $9. I'm rounding it off. So $9 for those 12 or 4-ounce jars. So it's less than $1 a jar. I've seen them as high as in stores as high as like $10 or $11.
Well, you know what the problem is once you start canning, you're like, shit, I can't get 1 pack of jars. I got to get like 5 packs of them so you have enough.
So listen, quick story. I'm ridiculous. I know it. So this time.
You make yourself laugh. That's ridiculous.
Listen, so this same Walmart trip. So rewind to Lauren's question. And Lauren, I imagine that she was Maggie from The Walking Dead, the actor's name is Lauren. So when you said it, in my mind, I thought like she's a total badass. So anyway, just a reference. So
that was the mom, right?
No. That's no, it's not the mom. It's one of the main characters that, like fights walkers. She ends up, who was her boyfriend? Glenn. With no spoilers.
Yeah, she was mega pretty.
Yeah. She actually had a show like on a regular television, like NBC, ABC, or something like that. That didn't work out so much. But anywho, yeah.
Shocker.
So I went to, remember, who in the hell knows? I don't know now where this is going to land, but I have a Leaf Connect now, in addition to my mulch. In addition to my mulch Connect. So I don't have any, trees on my block, or I don't have any trees on my property. There are trees on my block, but they have that kind of black tar. We've talked about this before. So one of my friends, we were recording episode, I was texting her like, hey, what's up with those leaves? So anyway, I went there this past weekend, and last year they had already bagged them up, which is a whole story because I put them in my car. They were wet. They were seeping into the trunk of my car. I think I ended up getting a short. It ended up costing me way much more money to fix it, but that's another story. This year I was smarter. So she didn't bag them up this year because her son was away, but she did kind of like blow them to the side for me. And so I went over there, and I had just come off of like being off for a little while. I haven't been in the garden in like a month, like really actively working. So I was squatting and like, bending and putting leaves in bags. And so I was down for like a day and a half or 2 days, man. You're talking about this old girl, man. I came home and showered, and then
I have to take you out back and shoot you, man. I'm telling you,
man. I was like, oh no. I started going through all of the things about like, I should get automatic shades, like, blinds. Have you ever heard of those? That I was like, this is one of those moments where you're like, damn it, no children. Like, someone bring me the remote. Someone bring me a cup of water. Anyway.
You need to use the Force.
Oh, that was, yeah. Well, that's the Force.
You know the Force is, right?
Like the Force be with you?
Yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah. I know. I'm not a fan though. I don't have anything against it for the people that are listening. Let me just, I don't want you guys to attack. So, but I'm not a watcher of it.
If you want to hit me up on Backyard Gardens TV at Instagram, I'm taking applications for new podcast hosts, and we are hiring immediately. Thanks for asking, and we will be in touch soon. How dare you not be a fan?
It was the moment where I realized I'd said too much. And that's rare.
Shit.
That's rare for me.
Yeah.
And I know that Leonard is going to edit it. He's not going to do me a solid and edit it out. But anyway.
He's going to amp it.
Let's come on. Let's stay focused here. So leaves, right? So I got like 4 bags. I just used garbage bags, 4 bags of leaves. And then she lives across the street from like a school or a park or something. And so once I got leaves from her yard, I went across the street, and they had all basically blown up against the fence. And so I was over there putting leaves in bags. So I had 8 garbage bags, like the contractor size garbage bags of leaves.
Nice.
So I use my truck as like it might as well be Sanford and Son. I'm hauling all kinds of crap. So I put the seats down, load everything up, but I'm tired and it's dark when I get home. This is on Saturday evening. So Sunday, I was actually out in the garden working and forgot about the leaves. Like I knew they were bone dry because it's been really dry here. So I didn't have to worry about any of the residue or whatever. There is a slight smell, but that's another story. So then Monday, I wake up and say, I'm going to go out and pick up a couple of things. I went to the grocery store for, I can look back at my list. I think it was brown sugar or something random. I was going to pick up a couple of things. And then I saw the mason jars. And so then I said, this is probably going to be one of the last times that I'll be out shopping. And so I have a cart full of stuff. So much so when I get to the checkout, they're like, "Man, we need you to go down to the other one since you're beyond the limit." I'm just like, okay, whatever. Yeah. So I get all of this stuff checked out.
They actually do that where you live?
Yeah. Yeah. So I check out all of this stuff, and now I'm at my car. And my car is literally, I can't see out of my rearview mirror because it's just black bags, right? So now I'm stuffing all of these things, including the ball mason jars that I bought, into like the pockets, underneath the seat in the back of the car and the passenger seat. Like I'm packing this thing, trying to get all of this stuff in. So once I finally got home, I decided the responsible thing would be to take the leaves out. So now they're in the front yard.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, there was a moment where I was like, I wonder if I could just pay for this and ask them to hold this while I go home and take the leaves out and come back. And I said, well, yeah, I have like a whole full-time job I really need to get to, so I'm going to make it do what I do.
Look, I have an issue.
That we're on an episode about, holiday treats, and we've only given one so far?
Yeah, well, that too. But my question is, are we supposed to be talking about gifts from the garden or for the gardener?
I think that it's garden-spirited, garden-related holiday presents, which could be a gift for a fellow gardener.
Yeah, okay.
Or it could be something that you've gotten from the garden that you're using as a gift. Both.
Okay. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, we grew herbs this year to make herb packets, and the hurricane wiped out our herbs.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh shit, what do we do?
Yeah. But it's still a good gift though.
It is a great gift.
For those that still have them, yeah.
What we were going to do is make like season blends based on our area. Because, a lot of times people use, in like certain areas, they'll use the same kind of seasonings. Yeah. But we transferred away from that, obviously. Mm-hmm. So what we've ended up doing is we got flower pots and we painted them. And we're going to give people little herb gardens.
Oh, that's such a great idea.
Which I think is better because like a lot of people in my family, they have grown food before. Mm-hmm. They've like dabbled with it. Yeah. And I think sometimes it gets overwhelming for them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So to just be able to give them something, and you know how I am, I believe in starting with an herb garden. Yeah, I know. It's like grow that basil, grow that one thing that you just eat constantly. Mm-hmm. So that's what we ended up doing. But, and what I stepped into this for was to say, like, if you're looking for like a gardener or something, or I mean, honestly, like if gardeners are listening to this, they're probably not shopping for gardeners. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I mean, there might be a garden group or something, but like a good book or something, like finding some good books and stuff like that, I think is especially this time of year, because there's nothing I hate more at Christmas than getting something that I have to wait 4 months to use. I hate it.
Well, I mean, I think that there's that whole like putting it in category. So there is the, like for you or I, right? You kind of need to know about what we're doing in our garden to get a garden specific gift, because there may be a duplication. Yeah. Whereas you have like maybe someone that started a garden this year, and that they plan on growing a garden next year. If they started it this year, chances are you can go a little bit more broad when it comes to that garden related gift, because chances are they'll use it, right? If it's someone you've ever had dinner with before, like you may know kind of what they like to eat, right? Do they detest lettuce? Right. If so, don't get them packages of lettuce seeds, like, so I think that, you apply that same logic that you would buying any other gift. Like when you go down the road of, do you want to buy them socks? Okay. All right. Well,
you know what, too? I think that, bringing up seeds, I think that's an awesome gift to get, too. Imagine if somebody came to your house and was like, here's every seed that you're going to need to grow next year. And they just gave you like a box of seeds of everything you wanted to grow.
Well,
that'd be a dope gift.
I would marry them. No matter who they are, no matter what I would become a second wife if that was the. I think that's super duper cool because, especially if they're a newer gardener, and maybe not even just new. I say that to say because sometimes you're like, what should I grow?
Yeah.
And I think that that's like one way of kind of having a guided approach, right? So
yeah, I think it's an awesome way to, and honestly, I've never really thought about getting seeds for Christmas, but I don't see anything wrong. I mean, I know that at some point it was like, yeah, there's something specific you want to grow, but I mean, there's somebody giving, walking in and just being like, especially a new gardener, if I knew somebody that had expressed to me that they wanted to start a garden, then I would 100% go out and buy them all of the seeds they needed to have a small, easy growing garden to be successful.
And there are a couple of ways to do that because they have kind of like seed kits, if you will, meaning like these are the seeds that, a lot of people like to grow. You can buy that kit, which may be a little bit more expensive, or you can just look to see what seeds are in there and then just buy them. Pardon me.
There's a company, I think they're called Mauro Seeds, Mauro Seed, and they have like your summer kit, your chef kit, your herb kit, your cool season kit, your fall kit, but their pack designs are like so cool looking. Like I literally want to buy it and just frame them on because they're like cartoon drawings and they're super bright and vibrant, colorful. They're really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a great gift. And there's always that if they're not going to use a particular vegetable, sharing is caring. So I don't even think that could classify as regifting.
You've given me so first of all, I am a fan of regifting because just because you didn't go buy it doesn't mean that I don't want it.
Yeah. I am too.
You know what I mean? Like, so if somebody gave you, and we're just going to stick on the seeds from it, somebody gave you a bunch of seeds and you're like, well, I don't want these. You want them? You damn right. If I want them, you might as well have bought them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cool with it. So there's nothing wrong with regifting. And you don't have to give somebody a gift and be like, I'm regifting this. So, just give it to them.
Yeah.
Don't even say anything. Just give it to them.
The amount of things I keep in my home because I want them to have, a next home.
Yeah.
Like the idea that you could actually see my background and things aren't falling on top of me. Like it's
turn the camera around.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to. When I was trying to get it straight earlier, I'm like, oh shoot, like this is my little area where it's like I'll deal with that later. I'll down here. I'll deal with that later. Right. Yeah. All right. So seeds are an absolutely great gift. I think that was, I don't know. We're going to share that one as far as suggestions. You want me to go?
Yeah, go. Shoot.
So I'm going to
go for the sky.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, and this is going to be the most obvious, garden accessories, namely anything that's at the Backyard Gardens TV apparel store. No, in all seriousness, I think that
link in the description. Check it out.
Absolutely. I do think that for those that garden, like I've seen your favorite garden shirt. Right. I have a couple of favorite garden shirts,
Well, you know why they're my favorite? Because they're the only ones that I could find.
And they've become the favorite based on that?
Well, they were, but now they're all stained. Like I put one on the other day and my wife's like, you got a stain on your nipple. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, what is that? And I was like, you seriously want to know? She's like, yeah. And I was like, it's fish fertilizer. She's like, that's so disgusting. And I'm like,
oh, that stuff smells.
My
too.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been washed. It's all good. Yeah. So if you ever see me wearing these shirts and they're stained, they're my work shirts.
That's exactly it. And speaking of, I'm a fan of darker colors for that reason, for my work shirts.
Yeah,
my work
I'm not
tanks,
because in the summer it gets hot.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah, you can find me like, dressed in all black like the Omen, in my garden. So that's not the smartest move, but hey. So yeah.
Yeah. But no, I think clothes are obviously, but you know what? Let's take a second on clothes. Let's talk about them. What kind of clothes? You want something comfortable, but in all seriousness, like hats, sun protection, stuff like that. I think that a lot of people take that for granted. My neighbor, he might be in his 70s. He just had 53 skin cancers removed off his head.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like and it catches up with you over time.
Yeah.
So, the older you get, the more and more you have to be careful of that. So, and it's like.
And we're all susceptible to it, Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So I think my top ones would be things like hats are, I don't know, there's a little bit more personality, I think. Well, one, I have a big head. So, I mean, if you're watching this, you've already observed that. And like, I can buy shoes online, but hats, I just can't. I need to. No. Yeah. So, but for someone that doesn't care that much, someone with a normal size head, well, not like, like Leonard, maybe, not like you or I. That sounds great.
Yeah, Leonard's got a little puny head.
So most every hat can fit his. But I think like tank tops, short sleeve shirts, hats, like you said, I think if they're in anywhere that gets cool, so any place that gets to 40 degrees, or lower, sweatshirts. I'm a huge fan of, a sweatshirt that I can wear, me in particular, a hoodie that I can wear outside. Because you want to be able to easily move about when you're in the garden, even though it's cooler, so.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites.
And links to all these are in the description.
Thanks for listening to this commercial.
Thanks for listening to this commercial. We have just filmed this whole thing as a commercial. Billy Banks style, baby.
Is that the guy that does the dancing and
No, the guy that had the beard that was doing the infomercials that died from doing cocaine on a plane?
No. Okay.
You don't remember him?
I don't think so.
You'd remember him if you saw him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he could sell anything. He could sell ice to a man in the desert, So he could, or maybe ice to an Eskimo or something. I don't know. I don't know how the saying goes. But I ruined that one.
That's fine.
So clothes are definitely a good one. And then like specialty tools. So there's a lot of companies that are coming out with specialty tools. I believe, like for me, I use like a regular wicker basket or something like that to collect my harvest. But that being said, if I believe that Christmas is a time to ask for something that you normally would not get. And so there's a lot of companies like, what is it, like Haas Tools or something? They have those little bit fancier harvest baskets. And so I know they have a technical name and I'm not all up in the technicality of it. But, those kinds of things are really good because one, they will last longer than any, if you take a colander out there, like a lot of people use a colander. Yeah. But how much can you fit in a colander?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't fit much. You're doing multiple trips. You got your kid out there with the shirt lifted up, putting stuff in, and you got your pockets full, your pants are falling down, you got your hat off, you got stuff packed in your hat, you're coming in and I'm pulling stuff out of my pockets and stuff. So, it's a good time of year to ask or to get something like that, or even to treat yourself.
Yeah. Well, how I feel about, treating myself around the holidays. Now, a basket of some sort is really, I don't have like a really nice one. And what I end up doing is because that's how I live my life. I repurpose a lot of things. And if you have, the blessing of even a semi-large harvest, what I find myself doing, because I'm also a little bit absent-minded, since I have like all of these random size containers and I'm like collecting 4 tomatoes in this little container and like 3 cucumbers in this container, I'll come in the house towards the end of the season. I had to actually like designate a little card table to put my harvest on. Cause I'd like sit it down, I'd go do something else. And then like 3 days later, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that where if I had one nice sizable basket, I'd be able to say, okay, all of my goodies are here. And I think it also encourages you to do something with them. sooner rather than being, I bet I'm going to roll over and it's going to be like, oh, those are tomatoes from September that somehow made their way under the couch. So, yeah, maybe not, but
exactly. And I mean, that's, I feel like most gardeners, the majority of them are big repurposers by nature. That's kind of what we do and who we are. And I know I see people, it's funny, like I see people on Instagram and they're all using, most people just have like a regular basket or a colander or something. But the people who are like the influencers, they're the ones that have like the fancy baskets and stuff like that. And I like them, and they're definitely functional because you can wash off in them and stuff like that. But having definitely a way to, number one, bring all of your harvest in at once, I think will help you stay on top of it, which, as we've talked about before, will continue to help your plants produce more because you are harvesting them at the right time.
Yeah.
So
making a note as I refine my 2021 goals. Go ahead, carry on. I have one that's a hack of that though. And it's just the way that, I'm designed. It's a DNA thing.
I hate garden hacks, by the way.
Yeah, well, I'm not the big of a fan of it either, but it's the hack to the basket, right? So this is one of my favorite kind of gadgets. And it's gardener or not. It's a salad spinner. Have you seen these? These
Never
are right.
had one.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Every time I mine just is basically a plastic bowl, if you will. It's inside of it you have like the a different set of plastic that has the holes in it or whatever. Throw the lettuce in. This is what I use it mostly for lettuce, and then you put the top on, and then I pull the string to basically spin it. Every time I pull up the bowl that had the lettuce in it, I'm enamored by how much water I got off of the greens. It's so satisfying. But I say that to say what I've resorted to doing is I'll take the inside portion of the salad spinner out to the garden, pick the leaves, dump them in there, and then come back to the kitchen, do the rinse, go through the whole process. So it also helps me kind of gauge how much I want to take off of the plants as well. Because I use the cut and come again method often, so I know how many leaves, how much that salad spinner should be filled up for the type of salad I want to make. So that, I think, it generally is a great gift, right? And you can get those anywhere. You can get them online. You can get them at any kind of not your home improvement stores, but I've seen them in grocery stores. I've seen them in like your Walmarts and stores, the big box stores like that. So if someone ever eats lettuce or any leafy green, I think it's a good gift. And then if you're like me and it's super duper old, where you're like, oh, I could even leave it outside and forget about it because I often forget. You can also use it as a bowl, a basket, lettuce collector, any of those things. Yeah.
A lettuce collector. So salad spinner. Yeah. And I mean, kitchen tools, stuff like that. They're obviously, but I think of all the ones that I've heard about, that's the most garden specific one that I've, that's like, it makes sense because I mean, when you buy lettuce at the store, which by the way, romaine has been recalled again in a number of states. So, congratulations, gardeners. You don't have to worry about that if you're growing lettuce.
It brings tears to my eyes that I'm able to eat lettuce from my garden in December. Tears to my eyes.
You know why they have recalls on lettuce?
I don't know if I know.
Because they water them with manure.
Yeah. Well,
like fresh manure, and that's what gives it E. coli.
Not by accident, though.
Yeah. No, well, it's dirty water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that a lot of times that's what happens. But, I think because when we bring it in, a lot of times there'll be dirt splashed up in it and stuff like that. There might be, an earwig or something in there and, washing it off. We tend to wash those off a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
All right.
Good job, Batavia.
Yeah, this is a
now
rare
I want a salad
moment.
spinner. You've sold me on it. Recommend me one now.
Well, I went online and I'm trying to figure out, I feel like I bought mine for $12 or $13. And I don't know if everything in the world is just more expensive. But I see one at Bed Bath & Beyond for $20. That's pricey, man. I think if you're out in these stores, look for them in your big box stores.
I'm going to go to a thrift store. I bet I can find one
I
there.
bet you could too. I think I wouldn't go with the one where you push the button just because I'm always looking for that button to break. I would do the manual, like that's been my workout, collecting the leaves and then pulling the string for the salad spinner. Like,
yeah, we're going to have a conversation later about your workout because that's weak.
I have fully recovered from the leaf collection, though, just so you know. I haven't put them down yet, so that's a whole other thing.
And I mean, in all honesty, I think that every gardener would be happy with a gift certificate to a home improvement store.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think every year we go into them at some point for something.
And that's critical.
And there is something.
Because even if you're buying from smaller businesses, you know, there's going to be something that happens in your garden year that takes you to a big box store. And that actually going back to the seeds, you know, if you've ever noticed someone growing a particular seed packet, a gift card or a gift certificate from that company to let them select their own seeds is a great gift as well, you know, so.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, I mean, yeah, I was going to say something, but I changed my mind. But I mean, a lot of people think that gift cards are not personable enough.
Yeah, I know.
And my stance on that is in this day and time, it's not like it was 20 years ago. You know, you can go online right now and get anything you want.
Yeah.
You know, you can hit up Amazon and basically the whole world is in your shop, is available. So it's overwhelming. And a gift card, I think in all honesty, is probably one of the most personable gifts you can give because it lets a person make their choice, especially for something as intimate as having a garden.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
So, I mean, I'm a big fan of them. I do think, and if you want to put, like, we used to call them token gifts, some small token gift that is a little bit more of a personal nature, you know. So if the people I'm giving like canned goods or, you know, things that I've canned to, like, we don't have that kind of relationship where I feel like I need to give them this gift card. But that would be a great addition, right? You know, a 4-ounce jar of something in a gift card, you know, it's a little bit of both worlds.
The hell with that. I spent a whole summer growing that food and sweating over a stove to can it. That's what you get. And you're going, but in all seriousness, you know what the issue with that is?
What's that?
I think that some people that don't garden don't get the effort that went into making that canned good.
But there are two other type of people, right? So no, they don't get it, but they also, if they know you personally, they know how important the garden. I had a girlfriend that said, you know, it's okay for you to rest. You've spent all this time being one with the earth. That's like literally a quote from a text message. Like they know that it's important to you. They know that it's become important to you. So I think that my hope is that they know that you're giving them something from your home. I think homemade gifts are always good gifts too, you know, so.
That's what we've done for a number of years. I mean, we said it last year and we try to stick by it. And, you know, it's funny. I was talking to my granny and I was like, what do you want for Christmas, Granny? And she was like, if I can't eat it, I don't want it.
You better.
I said, check.
You better say that,
I said,
Granny.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, you know.
Hey, look,
that's
guess what's
real.
on her Christmas list?
That's real.
I'm like, I got you, baby. You know?
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, well, I gave you some collards and turnips and mustard. I said, is that good enough? She goes, yeah, that's good.
That was in
How about
that
we
was
get
in
a little
August,
bit more?
though, right? Like,
She was like, how about we get a little bit more? And I was like, okay, we can make it happen, Captain.
Yeah. I do have another one. I'm just speeding through them.
Shoot.
So this is for someone that you know has some interest. And this is a good thing because it doesn't go bad. And I'm not exactly impartial here because I've just dove in. The little canning kits. We've talked about it before on the show. The one that has the funnel, the one that has the jar holder. Those, you can get those really reasonably priced. I've seen them at Aldi's. I mean, I haven't checked prices recently, but you can get them for like $10. You know, and so whether that person is like me and it takes them 3 years to actually make the leap and can, although they've bought over their canning goods, like if they don't do it next year, they'll have it the following year. It's not something that's going to expire, you know, so.
Yeah, but you don't want to get somebody something that they're not going to use.
Wait, what I said was you obviously have to kind of know their intention.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
you know, so there are people that literally are commenting on our posts that are saying, oh, I want to get into canning. Right. You know, so let's say you weren't canning and I saw you comment in that, you know, that's a great gift for you, you know, and because they're so reasonably priced, even if you have 2 sets like me, then it's not the worst thing in the world. That's always the thing about buying a gift. Like, do they already have this thing?
Is this a competition?
No.
I got you beat. I got 3 sets.
Are they the same color? Are they the same color?
No.
Oh, good. Because mine are starting to all look the same. I'm just like...
So this is the deal. We had one, then we lost a key component to it. We couldn't get it. The piece for it, so we bought another one, and then like a month later, because canning season's right before Christmas, really. And so then my aunt bought me one. She got it at a thrift store for like 50 cents. Never even been opened.
Love it, yeah.
And so we have another one, and she's like, "Oh, well, I saw you just got one." I was like, "I don't even care, because I'm gonna lose a piece. Something's gonna break. Like, it's good." So, I usually don't buy stuff and store it like that. It just kind of worked out that way. But we use it so much. I mean, like one of ours is like falling apart and stuff. So like when we do the canning with the backyard gardener or something, I'll use a different set that looks better than the one that we normally use that's like falling apart. So
and just
it's all about set production,
As an intermission here, depending on the person, like let's say you have some interest in gardening, and I think your point about the who's listening and kind of where they are with it, but any number of things could be these things could be combined to make kind of like a garden gift basket. I just got chills saying that. I want a garden gift basket.
Yeah, I want a garden gift basket too.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So again, my address for garden gift baskets is. No, you know what though? If you were in if you were in you had a big group of friends that were gardeners and like a club, like a gardening club,
community garden,
it would be really cool to have be like, all right, everybody, here's a secret Santa list. You're going to make a gardening basket for somebody and see what people would come up with. I think it'd be really fun to see what they would include. Cause like for me, like I'll take a new pair of like clippers any day, anything like that, it's just, it's crazy that there's so many different things you can do.
Put that gift card.
You know what a very useful tool is in my gardening basket?
What's that?
A chopstick.
For canning or for gardening?
No.
Do you use them to
planting
sow
seeds?
seeds? Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Yep. You could also put that gift card inside of a pair of gardening gloves. But look closely at that person's hands, because I have large hands, big head and big hands, so I can never wear medium or small gloves. So you may just default to buy a large one unless you know that person's hands intimately.
Yeah, I don't do gardening gloves at all. I never wear gloves. I'm a man. I don't do that kind of stuff.
Clearly. I wear gloves. Yeah.
I just don't because I like to feel things. If I can't feel them, I feel like I'm not doing something right. So,
so
there's nothing about me being a man.
No, obviously. No, so I'm kind of half and half. So when I'm planting and working in the soil, as long as it's not really cold or really wet, I'll do it bare hand. But like this weekend when I was in the garden, it was cold. It was like 35 degrees. So I had gloves on for that purpose. And again, when things get really, really messy, I'll wear them. But I think for me, again, you can't use me as the model because I have multiples of everything, because it's, my grandmother used to say, if you always put things in the place they belong, you won't ever have to look for them. Oh, that still haunts me, so the amount of things that
me and your grandmother are not friends.
Yeah, no, the amount of things that I have, just given up on and said, I'm sure it will come up. Right. Or the things where I'm like, I'm just going to buy a second one. I'm not completely out here like, just saying charge it, but
I have multiple spades and I keep them. Typically I leave them outside. Yeah. By each garden bed though. So when I need one, it's available. Terrible idea. Terrible idea.
Bad idea. Yeah.
So as they break, I will get better about putting them up. But for right now, that's how it is.
Well, that's the thing about I can get around using a spade if I needed to, but I had bought a new one. I think I had it may have been a gift card for Home Depot or something. I don't remember, but I bought a new one and I kind of set it and said this is going to be my backup when the one I'm using breaks, because I do the same thing. I leave them outside. I normally always put it in the same container or the same garden bed. Like for that year, there's a designated spot and I can remember it for whatever reason. And I didn't. And I was looking, and for whatever reason, I really wanted to use a spade. Fast forward to like 4 weeks later. So I broke in the new one, which, that annoys me. Like, I hate that now I have two that are in motion. But fast forward 3 or 4 weeks later, and I find it inside of a container in my garden that has soil on the bottom, the spade, and then a plastic bag of potting soil on top. Like, who in the hell? Like, what was I doing? Like, that makes no sense.
Lazy.
Yeah, man.
You're sitting there messing with your phone.
Probably so. Trying to take a picture, trying to get the angle right.
So, yeah. But I got a new spade for my birthday this year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, fuck those other spades. That one's a bomb.
Put it in the description.
Like,
that's the only one we all need. Yeah.
It's just sized perfectly. Uh-huh. You know, you're going to put a bedding plant in it. It's one scoop. Yeah, you know, you can get a big old healthy scoop of compost and put it in there with it. It's just, yeah, man, no, I'm good. Like, you know, my wife hooked it up. She's like, no, it was for our anniversary. I'm sorry, because the anniversary gift this year was steel. We do traditional. And she's like, I don't know what to get you. And I'm like, that's the easiest one to do.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm not supposed to tell you, but I was like, I could take some new garden tools. And she hooked it up. And I was like, damn right.
Good on her, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The thing that's nice about that, even though I only have one salad spinner, but I have two spades. There are just some things that you don't necessarily take the plunge on. Like, you personally won't buy for yourself. And it's nice to, you know, receive those things sometimes, right?
That's what Christmas is all about. That's what Christmas is all about.
Well, it's really about baby Jesus, but beyond that, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I know.
100% about baby Jesus.
I'm just teasing with you.
But no, you're right. I mean, you know, it's like I can buy these things myself, but like I would have never went out and bought myself a new spade. Yeah. Like I would have just waited and been like, I got to go get one today. Yeah. But when I got it, I was like, hell yeah. You know, and then I used it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
So this is completely ungarden related. But for my birthday, which was just recently, I received a box and I didn't know what it was. And so my cousin, who I talk about on this show often, he had asked me like a month before, like what my address was. And shoot, I gave it to him and didn't think twice, because we don't normally exchange gifts. And so I didn't think twice about it. And then I get the box and I'm like, I was waiting on a couple of different things from a couple of people. And so then I finally look at what it was. You know, it wasn't wrapped. It was just delivered directly from the company. And I opened it up and it was a speaker, an outdoor speaker, indoor speaker, like one that you can travel and go to the beach. And I asked him about like recommending a speaker early this year. And he had said, this is the one he recommends. Because those are the things that I hate making decisions on. Like I want it to show up I want to click on a link. This is the only one that exists, buy it and be done with it. So he recommended one. I was like, ooh, how much? I'm like, I'm just going to turn my iPhone up a little bit further. So anyway, he sent that to me for my birthday. And as soon as I literally hooked it up, I was just like, I can't believe I've been missing this. Like the amount of things, like I listened to the podcast through the speakers, the amount like, you know, Pandora, like never sounds better. Like it's one of those things where again, this is the speaker, but it could be anything we've talked about. You don't necessarily realize that you really enjoy it, right? You know, and it's someone that said, he's like, yeah, I figured you hadn't mentioned it, so you didn't get it. And I'm like, I mean, you know, I didn't get it. Come on. Are
you listening to the podcast on Pandora?
No, I can.
Because I was going to say they finally put us on there after like a year of me fighting with them.
No, I listened to it in two places, either on Apple, because I have an iPhone, or I'll listen to it on Spotify. But I can pair my iPhone with this speaker. Man, it's like, it's like the astronauts use
amazing.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I need to upgrade mine. Mine's kind of crappy, but...
Well, the unfortunate part is, real quick, I'll never buy another one either. That's the reason why there's the apprehension about buying it. Like this is going to be the one that they split up when they kind of separate my belongings in 60 years when I die. It's going to be that one.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I just got a peculiar text I need to look at.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife works in a hospital, and they're apparently getting overrun with COVID today.
Thank her again.
Yeah, they're talking about shutting down the emergency room over it.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in about a week. Thank her again for what she does.
Yeah, she's been kind of stressed, so
I'm sure.
That's why we're going to the Chef and the Farmer.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear about that.
Papa Bear needs some brownie points, damn it. Maybe it'll float me for another couple years.
Because we're getting into her season for, baking, and your demands are pretty high, too.
Dude, my demands are high? Shit. So look, we're about to give the recipe of the day, but let me just, before we start, I have it all figured out.
Okay.
I have my son who says, Mommy, it's time for cookies tonight. Okay. So then she goes and she makes us cookies, right? Then, the next night I'll come by and I'm like, David, go ask Mommy. She's like, no. And I'm like, all right, David, come here. I tell him what to say and he goes, Mommy, you don't want to ruin Christmas by not giving us cookies, do you?
Did he make that up on his own, or did you tell him to say that?
He made it up on his own. So then he goes and she goes and she makes some cookies. And then the next night, it's like the same thing every night. And finally I had to be like, son, we're not going to have any cookies. You figured it out. But like being married to a baker is dangerous.
Yeah. I have a great aunt,
and that
really
is a
quickly.
direct Michael Jackson quote.
Yeah.
So.
I have a great aunt who does like top shelf level baking, whatever that show was, when it comes to cookies. And we would get, so the family would go to Indianapolis, a couple hours away every Christmas. And when I got older, you're smelling yourself, you're old enough to stay at home. You're old enough to have a social life. I wouldn't go like 18, 19 or something like that. And they would bring back all of these cookies. That's one of the things, other than being with family, that I really miss. Like, you get dibs on all of the cookies when you're there. When you don't go and you're at home, you basically get what's left. But I'm talking about things you never see in stores, you never see at any other parties. This is the one year that she said, she's still very mobile, moving about, but she said she wasn't doing them this year. It's been a hard one. But yeah, I can't wait till I can come and visit. And, I won't even have requests. I just want to consume.
Dude, when you come, you better fast for about a week beforehand because she's going to roll out the red carpet.
I don't even know if you understand how many sweets I can consume and how often. I don't think you understand that.
So is it going to be a contest between you and her? Because I guarantee you're going down.
I didn't say make. I said consume.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Oh, so wait. She bakes so much because she loves sweets too.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, recipe of the day.
Wait, no, whoa. Today is a special day. Today is the day that Ben and Batavia give you the recipes of the day. This episode is proudly brought to you by San Diego Seed Company, a company that is dedicated to providing organic heirloom varieties of seeds for your small urban farm. That's right, you heard me. You are a small urban farmer. You provide food for your family and share with your neighbors, and they are dedicated to providing you with the best seeds for a bountiful harvest. Check them out at sandiegoseedcompany.com or on social media at, you guessed it, San Diego Seed Company. I hope that you have got some recipes because Christmas comes one time a year. Mm-hmm. It's a special time of year, and everybody eats Christmas food. Something about Christmas. So we are both going to give you an easy recipe today. Who wants to go first?
You're going to go first because I'm pulling up my recipe.
Ugh, you suck. You're going to make me go first? All right, so I make, every year on Christmas morning, I make a strata. Have you ever had strata?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So it's a great dish to make because it's an overnight dish. So you make it Christmas Eve and then you bake it Christmas morning. Mm-hmm. The only issue with this recipe is I can't remember the temperature because, full disclosure, I'm not a baker. So in my world, in my own little pea mine world, my oven only goes to 425 degrees. I don't believe that it goes to any other temperature. And my wife will tell me differently all the time. But what you do is you get I usually do a 9 by, I think it's a 9 by 12 pan. Is that your average size dish? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you get a pack of English muffins and you quarter them, cut them up, and you line the bottom of the pan. And then you're going to pour in, and remember, this feeds a few people, like a number of people.
I mean, because this is like a casserole dish, 9 by 12. It's like
it's a casserole. Yeah, exactly. So then we put in about a dozen eggs. Now, what I do is I put in a carton of egg whites, and then I mix in 6 to 8 regular eggs because it cuts down on the fat and adds a little bit extra protein. And then you're going to brown some sausage. So we use vegetarian sausage, but you're going to brown that, and then you're going to mix that in there. And when I say mix it, you don't mix it. You just lay it in there. And then you take cheese, and I usually put about a pound of cheese in it. And then,
like shredded or,
shredded cheese. Well, honestly, I've used shredded cheese a lot in the past, and lately we've gotten into using cube cheese. And I do like that more because you kind of get more of a cheese in the bite.
Yeah, thicker.
You know what I mean? So let's just say you use cube cheese, about, a poundish, something like that, depending on how much cheese you want. And then you take that and you just push that down in there.
Oh. Into
all the little nooks and crannies. And then I get like a seasoning salt of some sort, whatever you prefer to use. I like to use Slap Ya Mama. SLAPYA Mama, right in the face, son. And I actually split mine. So I do 3/4 of regular Slap Ya Mama, and then I do 1/4 of hot Slap Ya Mama.
Wait, what kind of seasonings are in this? Just to give me an idea. Is it spicy? Is it smoky? Is it?
Well, they're Cajun seasonings.
Okay.
So, but the only difference in the two is one is hotter than the other. So there's more pepper, like hot pepper flakes or something in it. I don't really know what's in it, to be honest.
Okay. All right, it's okay.
And I mean, I've used it with a number of things. I've done, typically what we'll do is we'll put, if we don't use Slap Your Mama, what we'll do is salt, pepper, garlic in it. And then you let it soak overnight. You cover it in tin foil. You let it soak overnight. And then you take and put it in the oven. And again, my oven times are off, so you might have to play with it. And that's just the way I cook, and you'll find that out when you watch The Backyard Kitchen coming soon. And we put it in the oven at 425, and something tells me that she would be screaming right now if she could hear me, 375, 375.
Because 475 sounds way too high for it, but go on.
425, I said, 425. And then I bake that for about 20 to 25 minutes. And all you're looking for is for the eggs to be done. And what I do after, now this is the key component. This is very important to me. If this isn't done, there is no meal. I take off the top and I continue to bake it until the cheese is burnt, almost burnt. It has to be brown or I won't eat it.
Is it you and the Purple Thumb Gardener that like kind of the burntness in cheese? I know that you both are big fans of cheese. Was it?
I think if she's a big fan of cheese, I want to say yes that she does.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
I'm all for an extra crispy or brown potato, but okay, go ahead, enjoy.
And then so what I do to kind of accentuate that is I take the cubes and I push them around the edge so that they burn on the edge, and then I get that nice crispy feeling.
Okay.
And they actually make a pan for people like me that is looks like a maze. So everything you would cut would have edges. So they make that. So then once you're done with that and you get it to the correct doneness, then you're going to take it out. And then that's when I would put the Slap Your Mama on there, because then you can kind of season it to taste.
Yeah.
So you can either cook it with the seasoning in and then continue to season as needed. But the Slap Your Mama's got salt in it, so you need to be careful. But again, any seasoning salt doesn't matter if you're using like standard, I can't remember what it was, Laurels or something like that. Laurie's, anything like that. It makes a big difference, and then you just serve it, and that's every Christmas we make that.
About what point were you letting it sit overnight? Did I miss that part when I was looking up the details for my recipe?
When it's all mixed together.
Okay.
You let it sit overnight. You have to let it sit overnight because you want, and when you pull it out, sometimes when you pull it out, it might be a little bit, it might look dry because it soaked everything into the English muffins. And at that point, you could put a couple more eggs on top just to give it a little bit more color and flair. But I mean, it's Christmas. It's a time to indulge. So we started out righteous.
Yeah.
That's my recipe.
Breakfast,
you
right?
go.
That's breakfast, right?
Yeah, it's breakfast.
Okay. So I was going to
But I'll eat it for dinner too.
Well, I hear you. I was going to give one recipe, but I decided to give another one. Have you ever heard of dump cake? DUMP cake?
I've heard of it. I've never had it.
So first off, so it's like, I'd call it like a poor man's peach cobbler. And you can make it actually with any number of fruit. But I was probably 25 or 30. I was probably 30 or 35 to be quite frank, before I realized that this wasn't.
This is about 20, 40 years ago.
A couple of years ago, like, earlier this year. Wait, the way that I had to recover from those leaves, clearly this has been a number of years ago. So I was very grown before I realized that it wasn't some family recipe, and that like people all over the world actually eat dump cake. I actually was at Salvation Army or something, and I saw a whole book of dump cake recipes, and I'm like, I felt like I've been lied to. Like, this isn't like some, this isn't my family's recipe, right? People have been making it all over the world. But anyway, it's nice because it's not as much work as, let's say, a peach cobbler, with the whole making your own dough for those that do it the most traditional way. It has, and I want to make sure I get this right. I'm going to add an ingredient. It has peaches. If you're making it with peaches, you could do it with, blueberries. You can do it with, cherries. You can do it with any number of fruit. You can probably do it with apples as well, but peaches, cinnamon, this is it. Cake mix, like the box cake mix. Yeah, I know. I said it though.
It's okay.
Butter. And then I add nutmeg because that's how I roll. But some recipes you may find online may not have that. So using a 9x12 or 9x13 baking dish, I don't know which one is really the traditional one. You're going to take it and you're going to, I don't normally line it with anything. I don't normally grease it. I don't normally spray it. Because you're going to end up basically loading in your peaches. So I start with, for that size, 2 to 3, I think it comes in 30 ounces, whatever the bigger size canned peaches are. I'm doing canned peaches with heavy syrup, not light syrup, not low sugar. I want all of the terribleness or the goodness, depending on which side you're on. So 2 to 3 cans. I normally put them in a saucepan. I normally heat those peaches up. Originally, when I made the recipe, I would just dump them in. But there's a whole thing about how tender I want my peaches. So I put it on the stovetop, probably let it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. Again, letting it soften. I don't always, though, put my ingredients inside of that saucepan because I'm going to tell you why. Once they've heated up thoroughly, and you've not cooked them to pieces, but they're, again, warmed through, I take a slotted spoon, take my baking dish, I start spooning out the actual peaches into the baking dish. So what this also allows you to do is judge how much syrup you want to put in. So you're going to take the syrup from the canned peaches from that saucepan, and you're going to pour it into your baking dish. I'd say you're filling it up maybe halfway the height of the pan. You don't want it to overrun. You definitely don't want this to bubble over because you're going to put it inside of your stove to cook it. All right, so you got that. This is where you can go in and do things like you can add in your butter. So you're going to use about a stick and a half of butter. I also melt my butter on top of the stove. Not necessary. You could basically cut slivers of butter in because it's all going to melt anyway. But I kind of make this as if I'm making a pie, right? So I heat up my butter. I put it once it's heated up, I put it into that casserole dish, stir it up a bit, and then that's when I do things like add cinnamon to taste, add nutmeg to taste. Now the cake mix is the tricky part, right? And there are technically 3 versions of this recipe, or at least 3 presentations of it. It's my great aunt's, who is the queen of it. She is the one that you only really want hers. But because she lives hours away, there is my grandmother's that she used to make it. And you really enjoyed hers until you then had my great aunt's, which would be her sister. Then you realize that my grandmother's really wasn't shit. It's my great aunts that you want. Then you have my version of it, which is just it's a complete disappointment compared to those 2. But if it's all you got,
food.
Yeah, if it's all you got, that's what you'll enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So you take the cake mix, yellow cake mix. And what I do is I add some of that that syrup, because you're not going to use all of the syrup that came out of those cans. I add some of that syrup into the cake mix to make it wet. Right? Originally, and some people still do this, you can literally sprinkle the cake mix on top of that baking dish. So you have your peaches, you've added your butter, you have your seasoning. Because this is so sweet, you don't want to add any sugar. You know, obviously the canned peaches have a lot of sugar in them already. You could literally sprinkle the cake mix, but the trouble I found when you do it just with sprinkling the dry cake mix is you have some spots of it that get brown and other parts that are still dry in the middle. When you add the syrup to the cake mix and start to mix it up, it almost looks more like a cake, and you can kind of spread it on top of it. Now that creates kind of a cake-like top. The desire and the goal is, and if you guys have figured it out, because I've talked to my great aunt about this so many times, and you know how when you've done something for 60 years, it's kind of like it's so second nature, you can't even explain to someone what they're doing wrong. That's where we are with it. So
that's what we do every day.
Yeah, right. So she has told me what she does. Well, I'm just like, nope, I've been doing it for like 15 years now, and I still can't get it. Anyway. She does something where she gets both the cake texture, which is probably like an inch high, and crispiness, right? And so I've tried all kinds of versions of it. I've tried, once I've spread my cake mix on top of it, taking a fork and plucking it in. I should probably talk to Kelly about this, because she may be able to crack the code.
Yeah, you're talking to the wrong person.
Yeah. But anyway,
she'll be able to figure it out.
No matter what you do, no matter if you figure out my great aunt's version, if you figure out her twin sister, who is my grandmother, if you figure out that version, or if you use mine, it's all going to be enjoyable. I've used this with that 9 by 13 inch pan. I've made the big like aluminum foil pans. You'd obviously double up on your ingredients. It's almost never left once you kind of finish your evening. If you have folks over, or if you're taking it somewhere, you put it in the oven and you'll cook it at about, I'm going to say 375. Let me see, 350, 375. You're going to cook it until the top gets firm. And again, if you look up brown, because everything basically besides the cake mix is already done, right? And you want to make sure, again, you could take a fork at that point, make sure that it's more gooey, the liquid inside, versus watery. That's what you don't want. It'll firm up as it sets. So I had to do this in the morning if you're having like Christmas dinner in the evening. I wouldn't do it the day before. I mean, if you have a lot of stuff going on, sure. But there's something about it being kind of fresh before it's set in the refrigerator, before it really gels.
Right.
And we normally top it with ice cream, but I almost top everything with ice cream. So it's kind of like a peach a la
Even your
mode.
salad?
Well, normally I put the ice cream on the side when I'm having salad.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that sounds good. I wouldn't do it because of the nutmeg. I'm allergic to nutmeg and cloves.
Just don't use it. Just don't use it. It's just the way that I season things. Like literally, you know, you could put a splash of vanilla in it if you wanted. You could go sans the cinnamon. You know, it's just, again, the flavor that I'm chasing. It's something that.
Do you know a good alternative for pumpkin spice, because it has a little bit of cloves in it? I think.
I don't.
Cinnamon and ginger.
Oh, I don't. I'm not a fan of pumpkin.
Tastes the exact same.
I'm ashamed about the Star Wars comment. Like, I'm not ashamed, but I'm ashamed that I told you all that about me. But I'm not. I stand firm on pumpkin spice. Nope.
Yeah.
Throw it all away.
No. So look, the whole Star Wars thing is you should be ashamed, because this new season of The Mandalorian is amazing. Comment about the new season of The Mandalorian, what you think is going to happen.
I don't know if that's like a car, a new season of a car. Is that like,
oh my gosh.
I don't even know what you're, like, that sounds like the car that they did. Isn't that the car from Back to the Future? The Mandalorian?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, that's enough.
Yeah, okay.
It's a race of people.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you like Marvel movies?
I could take or leave them.
Oh.
I mean,
okay. At least we have gardening in common.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's the we did the 20 things or 40 things you know about. We have to actually talk about that later, but I normally don't go with fictitious universes. Like, the post-apocalypse movies are the closest I get to, like, is this really going to happen? Of course not. You know, what do you guys call it? Fantasy. Is that, do you call like Star Wars and stuff
that's
fantasy?
Sci-fi is what I'm talking about.
None of that. Nope. No science for me.
I'll let you slide. Maximum creativity and ultimate cuteness going on right now, and you're missing every aspect of it. But that's cool.
That's fine. I mean, there's so many other things I can spend my time on.
Seriously, that's a solid recipe. I think the name dump cake has always turned me off, but I believe if somebody served it to me and didn't have nutmeg, I believe I would tear into it like it was nobody's business. So
yeah. And again, I've even when I looked in that book when I was at the because it was like this moment of like there are dozens of dump cake recipes, but then again, it's like I haven't cracked the code for the one that I know I love, you know. So, but yeah, it's not necessarily a common ingredient because you wouldn't put dump cake in a cherry pie, or you wouldn't put nutmeg in a cherry pie, you know. So. You make your own
recipes.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So look, we have given you 2 recipes, a number of gift ideas. We have gone off topic for the majority of the show, which is okay.
And more of the norm, right? We've established.
You know what? Though? It's because it's the time of year. It's like a time of celebration and relaxation. You know, and I have actually enjoyed just like randomly talking about stuff.
You already know I do. This is what I live for, man.
Oh yeah, I know you do. No stress here.
Agenda,
no stress here.
what?
You guys are getting a glimpse into who we are.
And we're happy to share that with you. Even
we are.
The star. I mean, it's if you're gonna love me, to know me is to love me, and to love me and know me is to know that I don't do that Star Wars, Star Trek. I know that they're like you guys are enemies, but I don't do either. So you know.
Well, you obviously didn't know, or else you wouldn't put them in the same sentence. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I'm the weirdo in that scenario. But go on.
Look, there's a lot of time and effort spent in my life into the Star Wars universe. So I just want to say, and Ahsoka Tano, most powerful woman in all movie history. So that's all I got to say.
Okay. Because that's not a language. That's a person.
That's a person, yes.
Yeah. And that's not that game that you play in the newspapers either. That's not that.
No. Okay. That's crossword.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
No, you're talking about Sudoku.
Yeah.
I can't figure that shit out. It makes me feel stupid, boy. Look, I went to a restaurant a couple months ago, and they had, they give the kids placemats, and they had a Sudoku for kids. Mm-hmm. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, this is supposed to be for kids. I could not figure it out. As embarrassing. So, well, look, I know we have a hard cutoff time for Leonard. He's got a previous engagement. Mm-hmm. Damn it, Leonard. Mm-hmm. But
those holiday parties, those virtual Zoom holiday parties, man, they're starting to add up on its calendar.
They're wild, son. So, look, what do you have to tell the good people? Anything?
Hey, buy a garden or something.
There you go. That was original, but we'll take it.
Is that you sarcastically saying it wasn't original? Or do you?
No.
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
every now
Anything
and again,
that I say comes out of pure love.
Every now and again, I'm pretty slow to pick up, so I just, yeah.
Every now and again?
It's 3 people in the world. You, there's a guy that I work with, and there's one other person that I'm always like caught. Like, oh no, you're joking. Okay, all right.
You should come be around my whole family. My whole family, when we get together, we're all like that. It's that like, you're like constantly like, what? Yeah. What? Mm-hmm. Oh no. So seriously, everybody, leave us a review, leave us a comment, tell us what's up. Everybody have a good day. Stay safe. Wear a mask. And hell, at this point, you might as well wear one in the car because you never know. Yeah. And until next time, keep growing, learn to grow for change, and we will catch you guys later.
See ya.
Thanks for listening and hanging out with us today. If you want to continue the conversation or just see what we've been up to, feel free to follow us on Instagram at Backyard Gardens TV. And we'd love to see your gardens and what you've been up to. So tag your photos with hashtag BYG Podcast, and we'll share them and help you out with whatever kind of issues you have. We love seeing what you guys are doing. And if you want to see some videos that we were producing, you can follow us on YouTube at Backyard Gardens TV. And we'll be posting clips and podcasts and recipes and vlogs and greenhouse stuff and all that good stuff. Everything to keep your garden soul happy. So head on over to our social media pages and give us a like, a follow, and a subscribe. And until next time, learn to grow for change. And we're going to call this one a wrap.
Now you know why people feel like celebrating at harvest time.
All over the world, people have feasting and good times when the crops have been gathered in.